Hello, retro gamers, and welcome to the Video Game Flashback Podcast. I am your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan. Video Game Flashback is available on all of your favorite podcasting apps. I thank each and every one of you once and always for downloading and listening to this show. It is a great pleasure to be back on board again, once again with you today, as we're going to pick up another one of my favorites, another fun, entertaining, just a very entertaining game from Capcom, another NES game from Capcom. And if you didn't listen to the last episode, Deja Vu, do check that out, by the way. A fun murder mystery, film noir, point and click game for the NES. And yes, there's lots of NES games, and I'm going to keep reviewing NES games, but I'm also going to be jumping into the Super Nintendo. Most likely, next time around, let's just hint at the next game is probably going to be a Super Nintendo game as we head into the month of February-ish and such. So that one will be a little bit bigger of a project, though, yeah. We're going to handle that a little differently. This one, of course, you already saw the title. You know what it's all about. Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers for the NES. Here we go. This game and the TV show bring back wonderful memories going back to the late 80s and early 90s. As remember, the show debuted in 1989 in North America, of course, on weekday afternoons for the most part, before the Disney afternoon started. That didn't start until the next year when they, of course, joined DuckTales, Gummy Bears, and added the all-new Tailspin in 1990 to the Disney afternoon. That was the beginning of having 4 consecutive Disney cartoons every afternoon on Fox Channel. Actually, it was I believe it was the other group. It wasn't Fox yet. It was Channel 9, which is what it's 29 now. A classic cartoon channel on weekday afternoons. It's like none of that really seems to exist anymore, especially with cable this and streaming that. Nothing's really the same anymore, and cartoons are all CGI. I mean, this was back in the days when art and cartoons were classic. I mean, cartoons were still cartoons, let's put it that way. Yet there was kind of a more mature adult side to it as well, like solving cases in this one, and DuckTales, like investing and being smart and treasure hunting, all that kind of stuff, and sometimes like life lessons, like don't be a criminal, basically, like the Beagle Boys. Don't be like Fat Cat or Nimnal, not only a mad scientist but a criminal in Nimnal's case. So yeah. Those are, and then of course, Tailspin took you way back in time. Unfortunately, the video games for that one, not nearly as memorable as DuckTales and Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. In fact, downright disappointing, though I may bring that one out at some point just to talk about Tailspin the cartoon, because it was way higher quality than we'll say the video games are. As for Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, I think they pretty much nailed it. It's a really fun, entertaining Nintendo game. This one is obviously, it's a different style than DuckTales. DuckTales, you bounced around on the pogo cane, basically. That's what Scrooge did. And he, of course, also had the his outfit was the colors of the Scrooge comic book back in the day. Kind of like all the turtles were red back in the day. The original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles all had red hairbands. The only way you could tell the difference between them was their weapons. And then eventually with the cartoon, you had the different colors, Leonardo and such. And of course, we will get into Turtles, maybe even later this winter, or next winter, or next summer. Who knows? But we're going to get into the Turtles someday. For now, of course, we're back into Disney classics in Chip and Dale. Am I a huge fan of Disney these days? No. Back then, yes. Let's just leave it at that. Let's just leave it right where it is. But this one, again, released by Capcom. So memorable, and it's a more entertaining style. Like I said, DuckTales, you're kind of bouncing around, bouncing off enemies, and golfing like, say, items like projectiles towards enemies, hitting them and such. This one, if you jump on an enemy, you're going to be damaged. First of all, the power-ups are acorns. What a surprise. It's 2 chipmunks. So, of course, it's acorns. You're Chip, who dresses like a detective, and Dale, who dresses like somebody who's in Hawaii. So, quite different personalities. Chip is the serious one. Dale's kind of the party dude, you could say. He's kind of like the Michelangelo. Chip is like the overly serious Leonardo type. Gadget would be like the Donatello. And Monterey, I guess he'd be like Leonardo in a way. He's kind of the tough guy. So he'd be like Raph. So I guess in a way, it's almost like Turtles in that sense. In a sense, yeah, Gadget would definitely be Donatello. Like, she was the scientist. She was the one who built all the important little, devices and gadgets for Chip and Dale and the whole Rescue Rangers crew to, get around the town and stuff. So, I mean, how's a little chipmunk gonna get into the city very quickly, other than running across trees forever? Flying in an aircraft, so built with balloons and such and other little parts. Pretty creative, pretty cool. But now I'm jumping into the cartoon a bit, probably too much. But it was fun. My brother made fun of it more than I did. I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty fun. Is it a little cheesier than DuckTales? Slightly. DuckTales was a little bit better, I would have to say. But it's not a huge drop in quality until you get to, say, Darkwing Duck, in my opinion, which was kind of like a much cheaper version of what DuckTales and Rescue Rangers were. Tailspin was obviously still super high quality. It just seemed like things started to drop in quality a little bit around that time. Like, believe it or not, the early 90s. And then by the mid to late 90s, it was like, And now today, I don't know. Yeah. Well, it's up to you, I guess, on that one. But at the end of the day, now we'll get back to the actual video game. Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. Again, thank you, Wikipedia, and do donate to them if you could. Really appreciate what Wikipedia does, so free plug to them and all of that, and citing them here. Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers is a platform game developed and published by Capcom based on the Disney animated series of the same name. I'll probably click on that to get some more conversation there. Originally released for the Nintendo Entertainment System in Japan and North America in 1990. It came to Europe the next year and was ported to the Nintendo PlayChoice 10 arcade system. That's kind of cool, though. Yeah. It sold approximately 1.2 million copies worldwide. The game was included in the Disney Afternoon Collection compilation for PlayStation 4, Windows, and Xbox One, released in April 2017. Hard to believe Xbox One and PlayStation 4 are already that old, but I suppose PlayStation 5's been out forever. Xbox One, 2017, but then again, who am I? Heck, I mean, 360 is still like way too new for me, if you know what I mean. This is a retro show, so if you're asking for Xbox One and stuff, you're probably in the wrong place. I'll come back to the gameplay in a second. I might as well dig a tiny bit. Let's see. Yeah, here's the actual cartoon, the TV series. What the heck? It was adventure, comedy, and mystery, created by Ted Jones, Alan Zaslav, based on Chip and Dale, like the original Chip and Dale back in the day by Bill Justice. Directed by John Kimball. Detective John Kimball, the Arnold Schwarzenegger character? Nah. Bob Zamboni. The guy who smooths out the ice. The machines that smooth out the ice during intermissions in hockey and pre-games and post-games and all that stuff. Rick Leon, Jamie Mitchell, what, like a broadcaster? What's up with all these familiar names? Like, yeah, it's kind of weird. Voices, yeah, the voices of the characters: Corey Burden, Tress McNeil, that must be Gadget, Jim Cummings, Peter Cullen, Rob Paulson, Alan Oppenheimer, Noel North, and Deborah Wally. The music composer, Mark Mueller. So that would be like that cute song at the beginning and the rest of the show as well. Opening, okay, apparently not. The opening theme, the Rescue Rangers theme by Jeff Pescato. Cool name. Ending theme was instrumental. Composer, well, Jeff might have been the singer. Okay. Composer, Glenn Daum for Score Productions. Country of origin, United States. Original language, English. Thank you very much. The very first episode, the very first season, in the first episode, March 4th, 1989. That was a short first season, only 13 episodes, but you had that first weekly deal where everything started. Season 2 is where everything was kind of crammed in there. 9/11, September 11th, 1989, 47 episodes in Season 2, all the way up to May 2nd, 1990. That was the first second season, pardon me. And then Season 3 was only 5 episodes. That was during the Disney afternoon, and then after that, it was just reruns and reruns and reruns. And next thing you know, it was getting kind of pushed to the side. Gummy Bears, you know how they would bring up a new show every year? Like there was DuckTales, and then there was Goof Troop. That's when the quality really started to drop off. And then, you know, like Aladdin. Aladdin, really? Aladdin? Like, there's no way, you know? There's come on. Aladdin? Yeah. And nowadays, that would probably be a masterpiece compared to the stuff of today. But eventually, Chip and Dale would actually get knocked out before DuckTales. That's how popular and how worthy DuckTales was. Obviously, the episode's 22 to 23 minutes. Walt Disney Television Animation, da-da-da-da-da. So I had to get into the cartoon a little bit. I think you get the idea. So, okay, Tress MacNeille was Chip. Yeah, Chip actually was a girl, wasn't Chip? The chipmunk is a boy, but the voice is a girl, I guess. And I guess you could tell where Dale was definitely a guy playing him. Monterey Jack. Yeah, and I guess occasionally there were multiple Monterey Jack voices, which is kind of weird. But that happens. So Gadget was both. Well, golly. Because she'd always say golly. Okay. Interesting. That's funny. So Dale also played, the same voice that played Dale also played Zipper. That's the other character, the little fly, and he helps you out in the game as well. So let's get to where we need to be. I'm sidetracking. I'm going down a rabbit hole going into the cartoon, but the cartoon is a classic, and it's something you can still get off of Amazon Prime. I do believe you can still get it there, and of course Disney Plus. Yeah, well, it's up to you if you want to get into Disney Plus. Yeah, let's move on. Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers platform game featuring single and two-player cooperative modes. So in this one, again, also unlike DuckTales, it's two different characters playing at the same time. Unfortunately, you can screw up the other player, though. You can pick them up and damage them on the other character. So it's kind of annoying. And you can accidentally knock out your other character when you throw a box. Because in this game, you throw boxes at things. And you can hide in the box, which will protect you for at least one hit. It'll kill the enemy if it dies in one hit, that type of thing, or protect you from projectiles. But once it gets hit, the box will go away, and then you're on your own again. There's also that cute little effect where you can see the eyeballs of the character blinking inside the box. It's kind of cute, cartoony type of thing, which is what we're going for. But the best part about this game, it looks like a Capcom game, and it does not look overly cartoony. It's cartoony, but not overly cartoony. Chip and Dale 2 is overly cartoony. This looks better. I'm sorry. Just like the show from, say, now versus if they remade it a few years later, you know the original is going to be better quality. I'm sorry. It's rare cases it's actually better. Well, now I'm about one sentence into the gameplay conversation. Two-play cooperative modes allowing players to choose which levels to access via a map. Yep, so there are optional levels, but we are going to play through every one of them. Yeah, on this game review. Each individual stage is set up as a side-scrolling action game where Chip and Dale can walk, jump, duck, and pick up objects such as acorns. But you don't throw the acorns, though. You just acquire them. And then it'll heal up one of your 3 hearts, whereas a blinking acorn will heal all 3. You'll be fully healed, and of course, if you lose all 3 hearts, 3 hits, whatever, you're dead. There is no easy, hard, normal version. It's just one game. So that's the difference between this one and DuckTales. Anyhow, we'll get back to where we need to be. Pick up objects such as acorns, crates, that'd be those boxes, barrels, and balls to throw at enemies and bosses. Each character can withstand only 3 direct hits before they lose a life. There are no passwords, and in 2-player mode, controller 1 is Chip, controller 2 is Dale. The rest of the Rescue Rangers also appear to support Chip and Dale. Monterey Jack will occasionally appear to break down certain barricades. That's when you pick up a piece of cheese, which he always used to say. And then Zipper is like a Starman, basically. You're invincible, and he'll beat up he'll kill enemies as you walk by. Gadget, though in Fat Cat's captivity for a big portion of the game, provides tips and advice for the chipmunks in each stage, and indirectly does build devices that help you in the levels. You just, they're just there, but I mean, it's like, okay, she put it there. The plot is the Rescue Rangers are going on a mission to retrieve a missing kitten for a girl named Mandy. Now, that was a real episode. So some of the characters in that first level, and I'll be talking about it as I'm playing it, are actual real characters, including the final boss, which is related to that episode. It's the cute little episode where the kittens all got kidnapped. Were getting kidnapped by Nimnal. He was trying to create a ton of electricity by rubbing the cats. So, like, static electricity. So it's kind of silly. It was a machine that would rub cats over and over and over again and create like a ton of electricity because he's a genius. Yeah, he's nuts. There's a fine line between being smart and being crazy. Anyhow, as Gadget goes on ahead to scout the area and Monterey Jack is sent to investigate sightings of strange mechanical dogs with Zipper, Chip and Dale proceed through the streets and into the laboratory where they are attacked by a crazed robot. Yep, that's a character in one of the games as well. I don't think he's in that episode. Wait a minute. Okay, yeah, that's later on. Yep. Yeah, the mechanical dogs. Those are the ones that kidnap the cats, which is kind of funny. After defeating the robot, Fat Cat appears and reveals that Mandy's kitten was just a distraction so he could kidnap Gadget and force her to work for him. Fortunately, Gadget, so instead of actually being Nimnal, actually building machines and creating all that, it was Fat Cat creating a distraction. So it's kind of like, it's like changing the story of it to make a video game, which is fine. And force her to work for him, kind of like, like Dr. Wily. No, not really. Fortunately, Gadget is able to contact Chip and Dale by building a wireless phone. A wireless phone. In 1989 and 90, huh? That's high-tech stuff. And sending a map to them via carrier pigeon, okay? Allowing them to navigate through the treacherous landscape and reach Fat Cat's casino where she's being held. After rescuing her, Gadget provides the Chipmunks with a rocket that sends them towards Fat Cat's hideout so they can defeat him. So it's like, nope, we got her back, but we're not done with you, you son of a gun. We're finishing you off. Unfortunately, you don't really kill him. You just, beat him up or whatever with a ball, and he runs away. How adorable. Rescue Rangers was the second Capcom-developed Disney game after 1989's DuckTales, also for the Nintendo Entertainment System. It was produced by Tokuro Fujiwara, who had previously worked on titles such as Mega Man 2 and, Ghosts and Goblins. Yep, we'll get to that one someday, if I survive. That's pretty hard. That's a hard game. Really, really hard game. Maybe late in the summer, like 1943, Castlevania, which was in the fall. What was the other hard game that I played? Mega Man 1. Oh boy. Woo, that was 3 really hard games in a row. Anyhow, according to then Disney game producer Darlene Lacey, the title was one of the least troublesome Capcom projects to meet the company's family-friendly ethics standards. With very few changes made during development, the Japanese and European versions of the game contain fixes to minor graphical glitches during the opening cutscene in the North American release, and a leaked prototype cartridge from a private collector reveals that at one time the player was only required to collect half as many flowers to gain extra lives. Interesting. Though the original amounts were still erroneously printed in the North American instruction manual. Ooh, well, that's interesting. The sequel I didn't like as much. 1993. I'll probably do a review of it. Maybe I'll talk about it much friendlier at the time. Let's talk about the development team and all that. Developer Capcom, publisher Capcom, producer Tokuro Fujiwara, Darlene Whitington. That would be, I guess, over in the US. Designers Masayoshi Kurokawa and composer Harumi Fujita. Series Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, platforms NES, Play Choice 10, releases Japan June 8th, 1990, and North America June 1990, okay. European Union December 12th, 1991, genre platform, single player and multiplayer, and all that good stuff. So yes, items you can get in the boxes and such that are kind of helpful eventually. You need 100 hearts to have like a floating star come to you that gives you an extra guy. 10 stars to just create an extra guy. So it's kind of like a super coin if it was Super Mario, whereas the hearts are like the Mario coins in terms of you need 100 to get an extra guy, but you actually have to catch the star that's flying on the screen. It's not too difficult usually, but it might depend on your circumstances at the time you collect your 100th flower, because you never know. It might be in a very dangerous spot. But hopefully most of the time you're going to be able to acquire that star. If you get pretty good at the game, you're never going to see the title. You're never going to see the words "game over." Maybe the first time you play or so, you're going to run into that a couple times. But as you get better and better and better, you start building up enough guys during the course of the game, or extra lives, so to speak, that you have 10 to 15 guys, just guys, gals, whatever the heck, as you're playing the game, characters, as you're playing the game. And all of a sudden, you know, no matter how many times you die, you're probably going to be okay. Fat Cat's level can get pretty tough, like the final level, which is like a cat food factory. Yeah, where maybe previous Rescue Ranger groups were killed along the way. I don't know, not necessarily, but you get the idea. Very early in the Chip and Dale series, that is actually Fat Cat's real hideout. So it's kind of like Turtles in a way, in a sense where, you know, a lot of the early stuff is in like the arcade game and such. It's kind of cool. It's like almost the same thing. So it's like the opening few episodes and such kind of put into a video game, similar to the opening few episodes put into an arcade game with the Turtles back in the day. So around the same time, honestly, 1989 for Turtles, 1990 for Chip and Dale. We'll talk about Turtles when we get there. I apologize. So yes, 100 hearts, and you get the eventual floating star. 10 stars, and you get it just turns into an extra guy. Like it's a different colored star, and you can also get that in the bonus stages. Sometimes there's a colored star waiting for you. Under one of the boxes, usually the top one in the center area. So, quick hint for that. Other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the play? Just kidding. It's a very, very good game. The music is good. The graphics are good. The gameplay is fun. You will get frustrated at times, but you'll be all right at the end of the day. Let's go. Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. It is indeed. And of course, that would be the first level of the song you just heard, Zone Zero, as we're going to start our first little quest about finding the kitten. So Chip opens up conversation saying, "Okay, gang, we have a new assignment. Our cute little neighbor, Mandy, has lost her kitten. I say this is a job for the Rescue Rangers." Okay, Gadget, I'll go on ahead, Chip, and scatter some things of mine that might help while we search the city. Yeah, see, that's kind of how she helps in the whole thing. Chip says, "Good idea, Gadget. That's the spirit. Dale, you and I can start on the trail. Monty, why don't you and Zipper track down one of those strange mechanical dogs we've been seeing in the park lately?" "Mechanical dogs? Oh, piece of cake, Chip. We'll get right on it. You can depend on us." Yes, Monterey Jack is Australian. I always pick Dale just because I just do. You'll notice the apples when you pick up, you start sweating and you can't jump real good, but they're insanely powerful. The dogs do die in one hit. They are mechanical dogs. They are the dogs that kidnap kittens in the It's a Nimnal episode like I talked about in the first segment. So, yeah, I won't babble about that again. It's kind of a cute little neighborhood, like alleys and plants and houses. Just a quaint little area, and you get the power lines and such coming up. I tend to have a habit to pick up every single box and just kind of throw them quickly to get whatever's underneath them, like possibly a heart, or not a heart, a acorn, a star, a flower, or a star. Yeah, stars too. Flowers basically sound like you're picking up coins in Super Mario Brothers or rings in Sonic the Hedgehog. Now you get to the first power line thingy. You start kind of not climbing up it, jumping up it. If you fall, you're dead. So take note of that. You could lose lives very quickly. You get up to the Transformer area. There's dogs up there too, which is insanely unrealistic. You get your first sight of Zipper. You also see mechanical mouses. Definitely doesn't tie into Fat Cat. This would be Professor Nimnall if you're really playing or paying attention to Rescue Rangers, but that's okay. We'll let the game designers go on that because it's it's an idea for a game, so it is what it is. You can't really include Nimnall, but you probably could have. There are episodes where actually both of them are in it. This level's fairly easy. The music is relaxing and such. You can get like these metal or steel blocks, whatever, that they last forever, but they're, they don't go very far because they're heavier, but they're not super heavy like, say, like the apples are, which is kind of funny. The apples don't let you jump really well until you get what is a P, like potion. It's basically a potion is what I'm guessing it is. That's what the P stands for. It's a potion. It's like a little bottle. A lot of people wonder what the heck the P is for. It makes you stronger. So you can pick up the apples and they will not hinder your jumping ability. So that's helpful. You're more mobile while holding an apple. And you throw them faster as well. That type of thing. So as you get kind of through the level after climbing up, you're going to the right and inside what looks like a science lab kind of a place. Again, you'd think Professor Nimnall 99% of the time here, not, Fat Cat. So, I don't know, maybe he's just using Fat Cat in a sense, because Professor Nimnall was kidnapping kittens. Yeah, we talked about that already. The steel blocks can also be used as items you can build little bridges or ledges or whatever to jump up on if you can't jump high enough, because you will come to that coming up eventually. So that's where the steel blocks also can help you in that sense. It's like I might want to say, sorry, I'm babbling. No, this is radio. I'm supposed to babble. As long as it's not actual babble, it's good information as we're playing the game. Again, first level's fairly easy. It's all cute too. It's like the whole idea of you're smaller than everything else, like pencils and such look like huge objects. This is where you get your first interaction with Monterey Jack after you get through the science lab area. As you continue to the left, you probably figured that out on your own. You open the quote-unquote treasure box by simply walking into it. A piece of cheese will come out. Monty will come walking through the cheese and bust through the door. And yes, the first boss is not a robot. I don't know why they talked about that. A big robot machine, there is a robot that's going to come kind of later on, a humanoid-like giant robot. This is a robotic cat brushing machine, which again, Professor Nimnall used to create electricity. I forgot what his whole purpose was other than to kind of control electricity and make a lot of money, which is, he was kidnapping cats in order to do that. Yeah. Well, what you do is you walk to the center, pick up the ball, throw it upward, and hit the green thing on top while avoiding electricity coming down at you because of the static electricity created from the machine. It's not too hard if you pay attention to what's coming at you, and when you jump, you can change directions like certain other video games out there. Very easy to beat. Zone 0 is clear. What you want to do is pick up the boxes going upward on the left side and walk towards the center. The center one almost always has a 1-up in it. Yeah, so you at least get a 1-up right away. Hopefully you didn't fall and die or anything crazy along the way. The game's fairly easy. Fat Cat then interacts with you in the message or whatever saying, "Ha ha ha, I tricked you, Rescue Rangers. The kitten was just a clever trap to lure you here. I've already caught your precious gadget from now on. From now on, she's inventing things for me. You'll have to take her from my casino if you really want her back." And now you get a map. Zone A, Zone B, Zone C, we are going to go through every single one of them because I like you a lot and I want to give you a complete review. That's just the way I'm going to do it. Most people would say, well, that's dumb. Why would you do that? Because I want to. I like to review everything. Zone A is a cute little kind of foresty area. You're basically walking through pine trees and stuff. So, yeah, now we get to hear a new song. right, the unpopular Zone A. You'd have to be an idiot to go there. What kind of more? No, I want to play the whole game. Come on, let me enjoy the game, dang it. You get 2 treasure chests at the beginning. Both have acorns. So you're eventually going to not be able to come back and get them anyway, so you might as well pick them up. You're having inchworms on the ground, or caterpillars or whatever. I guess they're, I don't know, they're one of the two. The way to hit them is when you're going to throw that box, you have to press the down button as you're throwing, so kind of like duck and throw. Otherwise, the box will fly over them because they're, you know, on the ground as you're climbing up the branches. You know, like this I just like this outdoors, out kind of climbing pine trees or whatever this is vibe. I like the vibe of this level, so of course I like it. The nice, beautiful blue sky and the trees. I guess they're deciduous trees, sorry. As you can see the branches. Watch out for the falling, flying rats or whatever. Not flying rats, but yeah, they're flying rats. They're gliding downward and hit you. So be aware of that. You don't want to jump up too quickly. Yeah, it's a nice little outdoorsy level. And most of the time, this song that you're hearing in Zone A, it's a couple other levels like this. It's usually an optional level, and there's no reason to play it. But what the heck, other than just completing the whole game? And I don't know, I just want to complete the whole game and do a full game review for you. That's kind of the whole idea. As I'm going up the trees. It's not a very long level, but you can die pretty quick, unfortunately. And thank God in heaven, as I only had 1 heart left, there is a, you know, good acorn, like a flashing acorn, to the left, kind of like as you're almost at the end of the level, to the top of the tree where there's a door and you're going to fight an owl. So again, that's just, this whole level is a cool outdoorsy vibe. Kind of brings me back to my childhood a bit, because once in a blue moon, there'd be an owl way up in the old elm tree that was cut down in 93. Yeah, you know, but like in the late 80s or mid 80s, there'd be an owl way up there. And that's kind of what this reminds me of. But again, no, there's a flashing acorn to the left a bit, like on a level below before the door. So you can have full power before you fight the owl. Which, of course, you self-explanatory. Pick up the ball, throw it up to hit the owl. The feathers come down. Occasionally, the owl swoops down to try to hit you with himself rather than the feathers hitting you, which is a pretty weak weapon, but it does damage you. If you're ready to go, it's a pretty easy boss, and I don't know. It's not much of a challenge, honestly. Zone A is clear. You do your cute little stage song. I'll let that play right now, I guess. There, that was the special stage song, at least as long as I heard myself correctly as I'm editing later on, hopefully, producing the show. But now we're about to go to Zone B, but not quite yet. First, let's hear from the lovely Gadget, who Chip and Dale often fight over. Gadget says, "Hi guys, don't worry, I'm okay so far. I rigged up this wireless phone." Wireless phone, huh? When Fat Cat wasn't looking, and I sent a carrier pigeon with a map that shows how to find me. Well, we already see the map, though. But okay, thank you, carrier pigeon. You never see the carrier pigeon or anything. Sorry, Gadget. Keep talking. Listen, guys, carefully. Listen carefully. You'll need to shut off some water pipes to get through the Zone B. Just jump on the tap. Zipper is waiting to lend a hand in Zone C. Uh-oh, gotta run. So Zone B is basically like a restaurant. You're going to kind of like this one. It's a cute song, and I think it's the only time you hear this song in the entire game. So be aware of that. Good song, actually. But before we listen to Zone B, well, since she mentioned the map and all that good stuff, I might as well have you listen to the map song real quick first, and then you can listen to that cute little diner, we'll call it, diner, restaurant, Zone B song. But first, here is the map song. Nothing super exciting. It's okay. I mean, it's very repetitive. It loops and all that stuff. I'll try. Hopefully, I kept that relatively short, so it's not too boring. But the graphics are pretty good, I'd have to say. And when you beat a level, you'll see the RR, like Rescue Rangers, not rest and relaxation or anything. And everything is kind of like, I don't know, it's like an old beat-up looking sign. I don't know. But now we're going to fly ourselves to Zone B and Gadget's cute little flying device that's in every episode pretty much. Well, maybe not every episode, but it's starting from the beginning or so of the show all the way to the end. And I know it gets repaired and stuff at times as well. I think she had to get a new balloon once. Yeah, you'd think you'd need a new balloon pretty often, honestly, because balloons don't usually last long. Yeah, anyhow, Zone B, here it is, the one and only Zone B song. Enjoy. Sorry, wanted to create at least somewhat of a track to have a little bit of a, to make editing somewhat easier, you know, moving things around and such, so it wasn't too weird and awkward. Okay, well, this is one of the more fun levels in the game, honestly. It's cute and adorable, and it kind of has that, I don't know if it's 50s to 80s-ish look, probably more 80s-ish, but maybe like 50s grill where it was built in the 80s. And yeah, it was built in the 80s, but it's a 50s grill. It's like it takes you back in time to the 50s with a lot of old stuff. So yeah, 50s Grill, of course, is local here in Brooklyn, the Brooklyn Center area, a little bit north of here, up 100. Free plug, I guess, for them. What the heck? In case you live in the Twin Cities, what the heck? But that's what this cute little level reminds me of. Stereotypical, I guess you could say. You're jumping on little cute chairs and all that. You get those annoying robot mice and all that chasing you. You got a big apple. You got the nice glasses, the water glasses. I don't know. It kind of is what it is. It's nothing super special yet. In a little bit, we're going to get a pretty entertaining monster, like a little bear that shoots like a BB gun or something at you. We'll get there in a second. There's a couple areas, again, where you're going to want to use the steel blocks to get high enough to jump over a wastebasket. And there is a little bear. I'm pausing it right now as I'm talking. A cute little bear that comes walking up to you. On water glasses that are stacked up as you're closer to the kitchen now. You're out of the dining room area and into the kitchen area, you could say. And this bear, if you watch very closely, shoots a BB gun kind of type of thing, or whatever it is, like balls at you. But the joke of it is that people always make fun of if you're able to pause it in time where you can see the little shot, you know, cannon or gun or whatever sticking out. It looks like he's grabbing something because it's kind of coming out of the same area, and it looks like that something is the gun, and the gun is something. Fill in the blanks there. Yeah, people often make fun of that, so I thought I'd bring that up and give you a little chuckle, I guess. And I walked right into the stuff, but oh well, there's an acorn right away. Now you get what look like, I don't know if this is, who knows, probably like oil, olive oil or something. And here are your faucets that are on. You just jump on them, just like Gadget said, and you probably would have figured that out on your own. You can either, and the ones that are level with the counter, you can just walk into it. You don't have to jump. It's actually even faster. But the ones that are higher up, you jump on. I just got my first flying floating star to get a 1-up. So again, this is usually often where I first get it. So if you're aggressive at collecting the flowers, you're more than likely to get your first flying star or whatever that comes your direction. Again, not difficult to get because it's moving slowly. Just again, be patient for it. Don't run it off the screen. That's the whole trick. And with the stupid bears, slow down. Like if they're coming towards you, stop and maybe back up, because that way you can avoid the BBs or balls or whatever the heck they are. I don't know what they are. They're just green things. And I'm like running into these floating down. Like they kind of remind me of Zelda 2 a little bit. How they kind of come from the left and then fly towards you. They look like robotic flies. Maybe like an evil zipper or something. And there's a flashing acorn. Hallelujah for that. I do believe this is the level where you first get your pee bottle, which will, you know, it's not a bottle of piss. I just fell into the kettle. Yummy. Boiled chipmunk. Outstanding. Hope you had a good dinner, guys. Sorry about that. So we'll continue forward. And there's your pee bottle. So about a little ways in, you get the pee bottle, and like I mentioned earlier, it makes you stronger. Performance, I don't know, like imagining it's a performance drug or performance medicine or something. That's the way I'm imagining it, because you're stronger. You can actually jump when you're holding an apple and throw it more easily and such. So yeah. And then you also get a character who's in a single episode who is an alien, because the alien ship that is in a Chip and Dale episode is also in this, at the end of this level. Staggy was the character's name, as Dale befriended him. And unfortunately, Staggy tried to replace Dale because Staggy can change shapes. So that was the name of the guy, the little alien guy. And he changes shapes into either Chip or Dale, depending on which character you are, or if it's both of you, they'll change into Chips and Dales. But it's not just Staggy, it's like all the aliens, basically. So you never really probably see Staggy. But that was in the episode how Staggy replaced Dale and all that, and created some weird issues and all that. So, yeah. But the other aliens can do the same thing if they need. But Staggy was kind of a naughty little guy in the cartoon. But yeah, here's your first opportunity to lift an apple, you know, with more ease, and throw it with more strength and jump and all that. So you can really whoop Staggy's you-know-what for pretending to be you. So make note of that, I suppose. And here's your alien ship, where it's funny, the items that throw down, the projectiles that can hurt you against this ship, which is exactly, it looks exactly like the ship in that episode, the alien ship that came down and, you know, had Staggy on it and these other aliens. They're food. These cute little things with 4 legs and 1 eye, cute little slimy looking green things, are food. I forget what they call them in the episode, but in this, that's what I like about this game, is because they tied it with episodes, interesting episodes throughout the show. But those are the, in this case, they're not as, like, you don't eat them or anything. Plus, they're just alien food. They damage you. So, battle away with the ship. It comes up, it comes from left to right, right to left on the screen. And it can come at different levels, high, way up there, below, whatever. Just time everything. Time yourself picking up the ball and avoid the little guys, the little food thingies. And it shouldn't be too hard. So, yeah, you're back to the, now we're Zone B, clear the little bonus stage. Just basically work your way up from the left all the way to the center, and you'll probably get a 1-up. Gadget now says, careful guys, I just saw Fat Cat send some tough-looking characters to Zone D. Also watch for falling iron balls. Throw something at the switches to stop them. Simple stuff. So before we go to Zone D, though, we're going to go to Zone C, which is more of an outdoorsy type of level. So you get to hear that Zone A music yet again. Do enjoy. So now basically we're in what is a library pretty much. A bunch of books all around, and we get to see some annoying kangaroos that, yeah, I do believe they have to get hit twice. It's like they have tennis balls, like unlimited tennis balls in their pouches. The best way to approach is, like, say if you're like a level or so above the kangaroos, kind of do the duck and throw type of deal. That way you avoid getting hit by the tennis balls or whatever the heck they're supposed to be. I'd say tennis balls. The major annoyance of these kangaroos are they have to be hit twice. They're the first enemy in this game that have to be hit twice. So be prepared to be semi-annoyed as they flash when they get hit, and you have to hit them again. So that's kind of annoying. Thank God there should be a decent amount of acorns early on if you make some early mistakes. But these kangaroos are everywhere. They're awfully small for a kangaroo, but what the heck? It's a Disney game. It's a Nintendo game. It's what it is. So, you know, it's I don't know. Yeah, a kangaroo would be a heck of a lot larger than that. At least I think so. That's like the size of I don't know, a squirrel. The funny part is, though, they never turn around. They're almost like a machine. But again, once you start jumping upward, as sometimes I get a harsh reality check about that, once you start jumping upward, you are vulnerable to falling and dying, which is really annoying because the screen doesn't change back. Even if it's just like a tiny amount of space you moved up, you get to fall. It's so stupid. So another thing, frustration about this game in terms of you could lose lives just messing around, not really paying attention to what you're doing. So yeah, that's always fun. Always fun indeed. And once you get to kind of what you'd call the edge of the screen or the edge of the level or whatever, on the lower level, make sure you at least have one box left that you're carrying by yourself. You know, you're bringing it up, a crate or box or whatever, because you're going to need two of them to get rid of this kangaroo. That's a level up. This is a part where you could die several times, because the stupid damn thing keeps throwing those tennis balls at you nonstop, and it's going to hit you almost every time. So it's really annoying as you're climbing up, and there's a chance you're going to fall. So it's one of the most annoying parts of the game, actually, and it's pretty early in the game. That's why most people would probably skip this level, but so if you do, I don't blame you. I'm not skipping it because I'm reviewing the game, dang it. So look at it that way. Most people say, why would anybody do that? Because I'm reviewing the game. I'm giving you a real game review. I'm not just pretending like, oh, let's just go and take the easy route. No, let's be thorough, right? Right? Well, kind of. And probably the most annoying part of all, when you know, every time you get hit, like if you do get hit by a tennis ball by that upper, kangaroo, you're probably going to fall. It's just so annoying. So, yeah, thankfully, hopefully you collect enough stars and I keep calling them, stars and flowers along the way that maybe you can get an extra guy or two here and there along the way. And again, also, I didn't mention this earlier, there's a status screen in this game. You probably have bumped into it already just by default at some point. Is pressing the select button, you can see how many flowers, stars, and players you have. How many, or lives or whatever. That's the P, is the players. So, yeah, just so you know. That's kind of important to know, at least at times, especially if you're getting close to dying or you're getting close to an extra guy. Why not? The best way to get rid of that super annoying kangaroo that's on that ledge up, if you understand what I'm getting at, is, throw the box that you have or crate that you have at it, and then kind of jump up there and, time the ball, basically, jump over the ball, then pick up the crate and throw it as fast as you can at the kangaroo and then jump over the next ball that's going to come, because it's pretty dang fast paced, but you got to do it that way. That's pretty much your best bet. Now you start seeing some bomb birds or whatever. I'm not sure what that's all about, but it's interesting. Not sure they're related to bomb bombs or anything. No, I'm kidding. Yep, you get a little bit of double trouble action going on. And it's one thing after another in this stupid level. But once you get through the door, you finally have a dang checkpoint. So at least if you die, you get to continue at this kind of center area up in the fans instead of the ceiling fans up instead of the beginning of the level again, which is just mind-bogglingly frustrating at times. But boy, this is not a fun level to play. So if you don't want to, again, I don't blame you one bit. Not even one bit. Ceiling fan part, yeah, of course. You don't have to worry about the fans moving or anything, so don't get too paranoid about that. But again, there's all kinds of stuff. Best way to get rid of the bomb birds without throwing crates at them, if you just can't, they're out of range, walk kind of about midway through the screen and then just kind of turn around. They'll drop the bombs and go away. So, cool. Otherwise, you will get a zipper moving up, and I don't mean a zipper on your shirt. I mean Mr. The Fly in the cartoon. In a box about midway through and such, and then just move as fast as you can so he'll wipe out as many baddies along the way. And yes, you can jump on the little ceiling lamps that stick down. There is no boss, so once you get to the damn door, the damn level is over, and you're freaking happy that you're done with this Zone C, because it was awful. Absolutely awful. But I think I'm a guy ahead, believe it or not, or life ahead, because you got so many. Then Gadget repeats what she said last time, that she saw some tough-looking guys going into Zone D. So now, let's actually go to Zone D and find out what these stupid, tough-looking guys are. And you get to hear a new song Again, she said also, watch out for falling iron balls. Throw something at the switches to stop them. Yep, simple stuff. So Zone D, I don't know whether it's supposed to be Christmas or somebody's birthday. It kind of looks like both because, or it's like some cute little store. That's actually probably what it is. A cute little department store where people buy little gifts. That's what I'm venturing to believe. So Zone D, let's go, baby. Ah, yes, Zone D. You have the little puppy dog toys, I guess, inside boxes. And this is when you get the first, like, living crates or bouncy crates or whatever you want to call them. Yeah, well, you'll notice a difference in shade. So they're not too hard to detect. They're red. So, like, when you pick up a box that's that red color, these boxes or crates that are on the ground, or presents or whatever, are already red. So that's a sign that there's something different going on there. So at least there's a giveaway. I can imagine a harder version of this game not having that little hint, that little warning. Like it's, you know, you'd think in real life there'd be a sign of something, that there's something funny going on. It's obviously still, you might be not paying attention, moving too quickly, and run into that thing anyway. So, but at least you do have that advantage if you're paying attention. Just use a keen eye and deal with that. You get the jack in the boxes. You can just, again, they die in one hit from the, or disappear in one hit, whatever. When hit by the crates. There's also a cool thing where, see, when there's two jack boxes in a row, if you happen to have an apple, you can get rid of them both at the same time. See, and I just did something that might be considered a really frickin' stupid mistake by walking too far to the right and not able to pick up the crates. I don't think I've ever done that before. So I was stuck basically in between the jack and the boxes that were still there, and no way to go back. So without walking through the jack and the boxes and getting killed. So avoid that, I guess. I mean, you're probably, I would hope you won't run into that kind of dumb mistake. So yeah, be aware of that kind of silliness as we tread carefully forward, past the little doggies and all that. But there's obviously that's one of the more unique characters in this level, is those angry boxes or whatever the heck you want to call them. I do believe what I did in the past oftentimes is just kind of walk in the upper level rather than the lower level when the option is there. But yeah, the apple can kill two jack boxes straight, especially now with the pea bottle, whatever, that you're equipped with the rest of the game. So that's always fun. You get these punching bag looking things that are toys. They can't die, but when you hit them, they're stuck spinning for a while. So you avoid getting hit by them that way. It's entertaining, I guess. And it goes funny with the cartoon. You get through the first door to the checkpoint. You see the train and all that. As you walk forward, this is where you see an angry rabbit lady, whatever, shaking the rug. And here's where you first start seeing the tough guys, as Gadget warned you about. They need to be hit twice also. Stupid rabbit never stops swinging that thing, so get her as quickly as possible. They're on multiple levels, and God, they're annoying. The tough guys also punch the crates, and again, they have to be hit twice because they're tough guys. But anytime you see a switch, throw a box at it, it'll turn off, and you'll be fine. So make note of that, obviously. Common sense stuff. Some shots are easier than others, but yeah, try to be smart. Sorry, I'm a little too far from the mic. There's a part where you could have the option to jump on the switch, and you can avoid it by just being slightly careful. There's another you can't. You just simply go underneath it and hit it. Now we get a third checkpoint. Watch out for the falling dominoes. So what happens here in this screen, you see a bunch of purple squares. Walk quickly past them because they fall. Just jump over the holes, common sense. Otherwise you'll stumble and get hit. Fudge knucking, son of a gun. Then you start climbing up or jumping up the presents as they get bigger and bigger, or walls or whatever, boxes. And you'll notice there's a red box and you can't really fight it, so you can't hit it. But all you got to do really with this thing is walk underneath it, or attempt to. I failed, but at least I survived. Stupid. And got past, and got an extra guy because there happened to be a star coming at me, so that was really convenient. Now you should be okay to take out the red crates that you're going to see. It's a fun level. I like the music here, honestly. So, yes, for the most part, anyway. Yep. Look as much as you can for acorns. I'm not finding any, unfortunately. So you're kind of stuck with as is. You're eventually going to fight a big robot here. I can't believe that didn't count. I thought that apple hit that red crate, but it didn't count. Thankfully, there is an acorn. Oh, 2 of them. Cool. In the the lower area underneath, kind of by the brown box, or yeah, parallel to the brown box. So thankfully, I do believe now we're full power going into a boss, or at least so I'd like to believe. Yeah, it's a big robot. Now this is like a, well, yeah, it's a robot machine rather than, or it's an actual humanoid kind of tankish like robot thingy. You hit it basically in the lights, in the chest, the thorax, you could say, and try to do as much damage as possible. Avoid the balls that are coming down slowly to hit you. Not that difficult of a boss if you just kind of keep moving. So, yay. Zone D is over. We got through this toy shop, I guess, basically. And we're going to start climbing up the zone thingy again. Another one up. I have 8 guys after all that dying. Interesting. That's all this game is. Gadget now says, I left a boat for you to use to get across the water in Zone E. That will be our next location. So we're going outside again for that Zone A music as soon as we get to it here. Oh, by the way, I nearly fell into a hole in Zone F. Watch your step. Sounds good. So let's go to Zone E first, even though it's stupid and unnecessary. We're going to go to Zone E anyway and hear that Zone A music one last time here. Ah, yes, Zone E. We're going to go to the great outdoors once again. Gotta love it. So this is just kind of a quaint, I don't know, like by a wooden fence, kind of, I don't know, I like this kind of stuff. That's why I play these levels, because I just like to be outside in the summertime. This is probably a summertime, better summertime type of game than the time I'm playing right now, but what the heck. When am I going to do the review anyway, right? You'll notice certain logs are like a lighter color, or parts of the fence are lighter color, they break. It's like, that's kind of common sense. The logs on the fence, apparently you can pick them up like an apple. Oof, that would hurt. You're going to see all kinds of bugs like beetles, cocoons, and such, you know, on webs. That would basically be like a, you know, like a pupae stage of a, what do they call those? Caterpillars and inchworms, but caterpillars mostly. Some of the beetles hide in the little teensy-weensy bushes is what they would be in real life. That'd be a pretty damn small bush for a beetle to be hiding in. I can't even imagine how small that would be. But then again, there's no reason that beetles should be bigger than chipmunks. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. That'd be a huge beetle, because chipmunks are animals, beetles are bugs. If beetles were bigger than chipmunks, I think we'd be in trouble. Wouldn't you think so? That'd be a pretty dangerous foe. Plus, with that hard shell, they'd be tough to, yeah, they'd be very tough. There's a reason why God made bugs tiny, because think of how dangerous they'd be if they were like even as big as like a cat or something. I mean, holy mother. So think about it though. Yep, when you get to the next screen, which isn't too hard to do, the next screen, which is like a quote-unquote checkpoint, There you'll see a colored star up in the upper left-hand part of the screen or ledge or whatever the heck it is. A chipmunk's version of a bluff. That's, of course, an extra guy or extra life. And now you get in the little cute boat that Gadget told you about. You have to control it yourself. It just goes left or right, pretty much right. Crossed like, I guess this is a fountain. Isn't that adorable? And that's the only time you'll see the boat the rest of the game. Cute. Then you get a hammer, which looks like something out of Super Mario Brothers. Excuse me, not Super Mario Brothers. Donkey Kong! That's what I always think of when I come here. It's the only way to get through the, I guess it's a concrete wall or something like that. That'd be a pretty naughty chipmunk. You can also kill the box that's coming up and other boxes as well. It's kind of a cool little item. I guess Gadget gave it to you along the way. It must be, because it's in a little box that you, you know, the treasure box thingy that you open up. There's another checkpoint coming up here. Again, this level's, yeah, it's not that hard. It used to scare me a little bit in the past, but I think it's fun. It's pretty, you know. I like these pretty outdoorsy levels. And you get the cumulus clouds as you get to the next checkpoint, and you get a little bit of a Super Mario Brothers 2 vibe here, because you go down into a, like looks like kind of like quicksand, even though it's not really. And there's like, I don't know if that's a dung beetle or whatever the heck that's supposed to be. Just basically what you should do when you hold the box. You duck down on it and slide down, get close up to that dung beetle or whatever the heck it is, and then throw it at him, let him have it. Now, of course, now you keep going, eventually get to what looks like a ledge and a door, and there's your next boss. It's like a, I guess it's a bass or something. I don't know. It's a dumb-looking fish, but the cool part is if the fish is kind of lower to the ground when you throw upward, you can actually create a phenomenon and hit it twice because, yeah, it's like invincible for a split second, but then it'll actually cause damage twice if it's far enough away from the first hit, if that makes sense. And that was extremely easy. Now, Zone F is a lot harder. Watch out for the pipes in Zone F. Also, they change size. Interesting. So Zone F, here we go. Different song coming up. Let's just say Zone F, not quite as fun. You'll be hearing this song a few times along the way. It's not the hardest level. It's really not, but it's certainly not the easiest. There's a harder version of a similar level to this coming up. There are pipes that you end up getting on. It's kind of Mega Man-ish. Steel balls coming down. It's self-explanatory. You just avoid them and whatever. Just time it. It's not very complicated stuff at all. Just kind of keep engine forward, getting your star, or I keep calling them stars, but those are actually flowers. And there's the extra star thanks to the 100 flowers. That's always great. That's what I thought. Those tough guys come back. So, yeah, on the lookout for that son of a gun. There's a couple of them where they can punch boxes and, of course, take 2 hits, not 1. And some bad guys later in the game will also be like that. They're so much fun to deal with. I just love them. Checkpoint numero uno. Again, but now we're starting to go up and we get these expanding and contracting. She called them pipes. I guess they're pipes. I don't know what the heck they're supposed to be, honestly. I don't know. They're just stuff. I don't know. They're pieces of metal that expand and contract. So it's kind of self-explanatory. I mean, you just got to kind of time it. There's tricks where you can, when it just starts to expand, jump. Oh, my God. What the heck was that? I think my brain just stopped because I'm podcasting. Concentrating on getting a little ADD here. I apologize. Yeah, because they go away, unfortunately, and then they come back. But if they go away with you standing on them, well, it's too late, buddy. You're done. So obviously you don't want to get too excited. When the other one starts expanding, like say you get on one and it's expanding, and then there's one that starts expanding after it on the other side, jump that way because it'll give you more time, and then it's not too hard. This is actually a very short level, so I don't know why I was bitching about it too much. It's just, if you have some ill-timed jumps, the level sucks. You get to the door, it's over that quickly. So that was a super, super fast level. And off to the casino we go. Oh, I don't want to think about casinos right now, but that's an inside conversation. Thankfully, I don't gamble, so yeah, but yeah. Zone, yeah, it's time for the casino. That would be Zone G, folks. Casino time, special song coming up. The casino hath come a da-da-da. Gadget says, good work, team. You're almost at the casino. No, we are at the casino, Gadget. Come on. I'll get you next time, Gadget. Next time. I think I got it now. Dr. Claw, Fat Cat. Gadget. Like Go-Go Gadget? I don't know. Anyhow, the casino, let's go. Let's put $20 in machines and watch the dollars just get devoured by a machine and never see that $20 bill again and do it again and again. It sounds really intelligent, doesn't it? Especially if you're like a retired person and the money's not really flowing in necessarily. Yeah, it's real smart. But anyhow, I'll get off that topic real quick. It's you get these. These are definitely characters. That's one of the bad guys in the cartoon. That's one of Fat Cat's, like, you know, gangsters, whatever. Because Fat Cat's basically like a mafia don of a cat, basically. But it's the same character over and over and over and over again, just like Staggy in that other episode and when we were in the restaurant. But casino, yeah, the music's kind of cool here, and the background's kind of cool. It's all kind of fairly self-explanatory. The guys throw hats at you once in a while. They throw hats at you, the little gangster guys. One of Fat Cat's baddies in the actual cartoon, and it looks a lot like him too. Looks a lot more like him than Dale looks like Dale, I'll tell you that much. And then you get those obnoxious football guys. I believe they are in, yes, they are in an episode or two. You see martini glasses or whatever, wine glasses. It's cute stuff. Naughty, naughty, baby. That's naughty for kids. Oh, well. Kids, don't drink and drive. Okay, anyhow, we're going to continue onward. Again, the football guys, the best way to handle them is to just duck in the box and let them hit you, because then they die, and you don't. It's kind of funny. In real life, that would not happen. Whenever you see steel blocks, though, there's a good chance you're going to be using them to get up on a ledge or something. At least I think so. Yeah. It also creates a barricade for the football guy. Interesting. Yeah, football. Around these parts, football is not real fun. Go for, you know, so obviously... Some of you, I think a chunk of you that listen to this show are from Minnesota. Some of you aren't. Yeah, the Vikings have lost 4 Super Bowls, and the Gophers never win anything except in the 60s and earlier. Yeah, anyhow, I'll get off that, so I don't want to think about football right now. You get to your first checkpoint. Now you're up in kind of the ceiling lamp type of stuff. These are the more neon-colored lamps, which are quite cool. Steel blocks, what do they mean? Stack them up, baby. Stack up, at least 2 of them, and you're going to be moving on to the next area, so on and so forth, and you're going to be doing the same thing again, at least once or twice. Ugh. Watch out for those annoying bugs that swoop down to try to attack you, a la Zelda 2, which are birds in Zelda 2 in the swamp area. Very annoying. Very, very. Yeah, anytime you see a steel block, again, yeah, it's usually a hint of something, but not always. Yep, so there's a treasure box you can get by stacking up steel boxes, so I guess that's your kind of hint here. I suppose you could have figured that out without my help, though. That one is a 1-up. How about that? But you're also going to need those steel boxes to get to the next door, the checkpoint. And that's the boss, which is... I think he's supposed to be the other cat. Like that, kind of the cat's like, but boss... I forgot his name. He's like the whiny cat, you know, of one of Fat Cat's, you know, gangsters, whatever. boss, it's that guy. But I don't know. I don't have the names in front of me. I'll probably look them up and give them to you here very shortly. Might not be a bad idea. He's not too hard. Basically, just avoid the spikes and stuff, and eventually you'll get him. I actually barely survived that, but I did. So Zone G is kaput. Amen. Hallelujah. Same old thing. Get the extra guy and stuff. And then you rescue Gadget, and you throw flowers at her. It's almost like when the Turtles rescue April O'Neil, but she doesn't kiss you. Gadget. Thanks, guys. I knew you could do it. Fat Cat just ran off, but you can chase him with my rocket. Golly. So you go straight up with the rocket. You see a ship off in the background, or sailboat or whatever. You go all the way up into space, and you can see a galaxy off in the distance. And what looks like the moon. I don't know. It's kind of dark. You come back straight down, and now you're in a different zone area. Zone H, I, and J. And this is another one of those levels with no bosses. And it's that same song again that you heard earlier, and I'll play it now. It's the, it's the Zone I song, basically, because it's a group of songs. And before we go to that actual song, the Zone I song, the names of the characters, the gang. Meps is the cat, so that's the cat that I just beat, I believe. It actually looks like him a little bit, but he's dressed a little bit wimpier. Wart is the guy that's throwing the hat at you. And then Mole, yeah, that's probably the one that actually shoots that little BB gun at you earlier. So I'm pretty sure that's him. So Meps, yeah, Meps, Mole Snout is the little guy that shoots the balls at you. Meps is the cat, and of course Jim Cummings is Wart. That's like that lizard character that throws the hat at you. So there's your characters for Fat Cat's gang. Thought I'd get that out of the way. Okay, now the Zone I song. Sorry about that. Well, looks like we're in a sewer, and it's time to get to work early on here. Sorry, I went too loud, but yeah, kind of what you expect. Now you get to see these crabs. Watch out, they drop bubbles. Scary, but well, these bubbles aren't like the typical bubbles you see outside or even in a sewer or whatever. I would definitely call this a sewer because beneath you it's nasty and green. Ugh. Now what crabs are doing down here, I'm not sure. So maybe they're crawfish or crayfish or whatever the heck you'd call it. Thankfully you can throw, wow, I didn't even realize you could do that, but yeah. Sometimes you get confused at what you can walk on and what's the background, but obviously they're not going to force you to jump or to fly over the green stuff, but you do have to jump over it. Some of the jumps are easier than others, but it's a fairly self-explanatory level. Annoyingly, once you start jumping up, you're going to want to have a box on your person or on your chipmunk person thing, because you're going to get those flying squirrels coming down at you, and yeah, I just got hit, and that's wonderful, because it's just going to happen. So like the white, I don't even want to get into it. Let's just say the white pipes you can walk through. There's a couple of big ones of those, but the golden colored ones you can't, or let's just say copper, because that's probably what it is. Luckily, though, you will get acorns along the way, so when you get hit, maybe you won't be down to your last heart. You're still at 2, so you feel a little bit better about that, graciously. Yeah, it's not the hardest level in the world if you just kind of move. You just kind of keep moving, do your thing. There's a fairly difficult jump as you get kind of closer up, but just kind of time it and jump, and I don't know, if you're like a reasonably good retro gamer, it's not that difficult of a level. This level does not have a boss, from my knowledge, though maybe it does. You also get Staggy again, good old Staggy. He's back in the mix of things. I just found a secret, huh? But so there's an area when you first start seeing the Staggies, those alien creatures that can turn into you if you're Chip or Dale. If you stand on the edge of the lower platform for a little while and maybe jump straight, but just kind of stick around there, there's 2 stars there that kind of appear. Kind of like in DuckTales, sometimes you'll find invisible items that way. So it's interesting. DuckTales and Capcom, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, yes, they're all related. It's Capcom and Disney and all that cute stuff. But Capcom's really the main common denominator here, not Disney. It's not the main reason. I can't believe I just ran into one of those aliens. I ran into it twice. Great. Well, I'm still alive though, hanging in there. And now we get that. Oh, yep, good. There's a blinking acorn. So as you go up a bit into the final, I believe this is kind of getting closer to the final area, but when you start getting those moles coming after you, shooting at you. Yeah, that's pretty much the Fat Cat gang. So, yeah, because, yeah, I mean, one of them, yeah, you get Wart later on. He's going to show up again in the Fat Cat final level. And, yeah, after you pick up a bunch of stars, you get to the door and you hear the ending song, like you beat a level. You know, I don't think I've ever played that. So, as soon as I'm done with this, I'm going to let you hear that quick. First, though, Gadget's going to say, I'm going back to headquarters, so don't worry about me. Watch out for the fans in Zone I. Okay, so Zone I. So that was Zone H that we just beat. Not Zone I, Zone H. But hopefully I figure that out at some point. So Zone H was the sewer, and Zone I is now the fans and such. So this is the real Zone I. My deep apologies for my mistake. Yeah, well, it happens, right? They could blow you away. Yes, yeah, they can. But, I mean, that's kind of common sense. Yes, you end up walking against the wind like a hurricane and all that stuff because you're a chipmunk, doggone it. So fans can feel like a hurricane when you're a chipmunk. Good, it's not moving. Yeah, J is the final level with, the Fat Cat level. You start seeing Ward again. Damn thing won't go to... Okay, so I'll let you hear the, like when you beat a level without a boss or with a boss song. You never got to hear that yet, I believe. So here it comes. Now, aren't you glad you finally got to hear that over an hour into the game review? But, okay, sorry. That's just me being, I don't know, goofy and forgetting and forgetful. But, that's how it goes. That's why we do these reviews. Now let's go to Zone I once and for all. It's one of the tougher levels in the game, so be prepared for a challenge. And if you're not ready for a challenge, I guess maybe, I don't know, you're just not. But Zone I it is. And we're in a setting of like an office, coffee mugs with gigantic beetles inside. I believe similar to the beetles that were in other parts. Yeah, it's the same beetles that would hide behind bushes. Now they're hiding inside cups, but you can see their eyes sticking through the cups. Well, I suppose. Now you got pelicans that will catch the boxes and throw them back at you. The boxes, crates, whatever the hell you call the tiny little things. It's a pretty small crate, by the way. But yeah, the way to kill them is to... well, if you're standing parallel to them, parallel to them, just throw the box, like basically press down and throw, so you hit them in the legs and then away they go. Otherwise, they will catch the crate or box and throw it back at you. Otherwise, if you're underneath them, throw up and they're gone. But, they are definitely a threat to throw the box back at you, which will knock you out and make you vulnerable to attack. So, yeah. So, again, if you're standing parallel to them, throw downward, so to speak. It'll hit their feet or whatever, and adios they go. You interact with the fans, or you get to the fans. They will either blow you backwards or potentially forwards. Either way could be dangerous. Watch out for tacks. Those are not taxes. Yeah, I'd watch out for that too, especially at this time of year. But the early part of the year, that's tax season. But no tacks. They're very large. They look like large spikes. They do not kill you in one hit like in Castlevania. So that's good. Even though, boy, they look like they could kill you in one hit. Oof. But you're like the smallest chipmunks on the face of the earth. You're like smaller than a mouse, which is funny. In compared to a lot of things. But then again, those pelicans would be awfully tiny too. None of this makes any dang sense. because fans aren't that big where a pelican would be that tiny standing on top of it. Yeah, it's just weird. Sometimes they don't know what the heck they're doing. Yeah, it's very strange. But again, like I've said already, worry about the pelicans by throwing downward to get rid of them. Another Monterey Jack cheese thingy dingy. And that's your first checkpoint. You get the classic office lamp looking things. Almost looks like a 40s telephone, but it's an office lamp, I guess. We're in an office with that. And there's your like kind of 80s, early 80s looking telephone, not late 80s. That look, well, no, it's 80s, yeah. Because I guess early 80s you might have still had the rotary phones. There is a zipper here, of course, and I do mean the fly that gives you invincibility and kills bad guys along the way. So there's one of those. That's getting about midway through the level. Watch out for the tacks and the dive bombing hornets, I believe is what they are, or yellow jackets. And then your boss is a caterpillar, so like a bookworm or something. Looks more like a, I don't know, looks more like a bunch of Mickey Mouses in a Halloween costume and a bee on top. I have no idea, but I guess it's a caterpillar. You might want to, some people, I mean, this is the part of the game where you could cheat by pressing the pause button a little bit to kind of time where you are, but you want to stand on the center of the screen, throw upward and hit that stupid caterpillar. The caterpillar, once it gets to the center of the screen, falls apart intentionally to try to hit you. And you want to try to maybe use the pause button to kind of try to maneuver around and avoid where the son of a gun is. Center and such and get out of the way. But I've handled this so frickin' poorly, it's not even funny. Which is really stupid. Yeah, because of the ball got in the way, basically. The bocce ball or whatever it looks like. Yeah, I'm frickin' toast. So I gotta keep at it again. It's not the hardest boss in the game, but it surely ain't the easiest either. You can, again, cheat by pressing the pause button. That's your best way to go about it. But I don't think it's really cheating, because you know why it's not cheating? Because there's a pause button. If they give you a pause button, that's on them. Cheating how? So, you know, otherwise it's almost too hard, really. I mean, you can do it, and I'm still getting hit like 50 times. Though I did manage to beat the stupid son of a caterpillar machine. Zone I is clear. We're going after our extra guy or life or whatever the heck you call it. Out of curiosity, before I do anything else, I want to check how many lives I have. Just to brag, you know, just to kind of gloat. I have 18 lives. So despite the fact I've died like 50 times, I have 18 lives. So again, that's if you're very effective about getting all the, getting as many stars and flowers and such along the way, and not missing the opportunities at the end of each level to get an extra guy or life or whatever. Yeah, they're going to accumulate to a point where if you lose, you get a game over. I don't know what happened to you. Anyway, Gadget. You've reached Fat Cat's home base. Now go get him, Rescue Rangers. That would again be Zone J. It is time to go to the cat food factory where former Rescue Ranger groups were caught and destroyed. Or it's just cat food. But it's probably a little bit of everything. And the music here is awesome. Do enjoy. Honestly, though, isn't that pretty good final level music? I think it is. This level, you could lose lives very, very quickly. Of course, you get the, whatever the heck they call these things, the tracks and such, you can get caught. So, yeah, watch out for that. Obviously, like the rubber tracks and such. But either CRT tracks or belts or whatever you call them, like the assembly belt, basically, they tend to move forward and backward. Kind of like a, like escalator or standolator or whatever the heck it is. You see a lot of familiar enemies like those annoying like robot-looking bees. You get the football player guys. And again, you're going to make mistakes like I am and die often. But luckily there are power-ups like a flashing acorn pretty early because of the early potential mistakes you're going to run into. Time your jumps, time your everything, basically. Know which direction the belt's going. Use it to your advantage in a lot of cases. Like if it's going forward, you can use it to be able to jump further potentially if you need to, or so on and so forth. There's a checkpoint fairly early, which is obviously a good feeling, and other guys piling up. You're going to start seeing Wart. You're going to start seeing Wart with his hat, and this other character who is more of like a weasel. Yeah, and he has a pop gun. Oh, that's scary. Or it's a plunger gun that shoots at you. I do believe he is in the show, but I don't remember him real well. I think he might be in a, I don't know. I think he's in a specific episode or two. At least from what I've been researching here on the fly, or as I paused the game to look it up, I had to know. Arrow, I guess, yeah, because I do remember a character in the show. I don't remember it, yeah, but he's not wearing a fedora in it, but he does have like kind of like a fancy outfit, and he's got that same look, kind of like, arrogant look, whatever, but whatever. There's only one, but in the game there's like bunches of them coming at you, and they do take 2 hits, so be knowledgeable of that, and they're quite tall, so they're a little bit tougher to jump over. So, and yes, they take 2 hits. They're tough, mean sons of biscuits. He's like a assassin. And then you get the axes and such, just like in a, like in a factory, in a cartoon, whatever. When you're like, oh my God, we're gonna die. You conveyor belt. There, I finally said the word right. Conveyor belt. And you get warts who throw the hats at you. They're a pain in the butt. Yes, but there is only one wart in the show. But in this game, there's quite a few. They only take 1 hit, but they're kind of fast moving, and they throw hats at you before you're ready at times. But luckily, I've been maneuvering around them. This is a fairly short level. Oh yeah, you get the switches. Otherwise, you get ground up by axes, and that's not going to happen. You just hit both switches. You probably figured this out by earlier in the game. You don't really need too much help. Keep moving on the conveyor belt. For some reason, I killed that arrow guy in 1 hit, so that was a blessing, to say the least. Once you start getting to like highly piled up looking cat food boxes and such, take your time, watch out. You're getting very close to the end of the game. I mean, very, very. Watch out, take your time. No, don't rush. Ugh, just like I did, like stupid Wart jumped on me, which was really annoying. Jumped up and hit me. Well, I wasn't expecting him to jump, but of course he did. Hoping to God there's an acorn in one of these crates. I do know there's at least one more weasel waiting for me. Getting lots of stars, but no extra guys and no acorns. So chances are I'm going to die. But once you see the door, a la like a Mega Man or something, that is the door to Fat Cat, the final boss. It is the same boss music. I don't even know if I've played the boss music throughout this game, which is really dumb of me. But you'll hear it now for sure because it's Fat Cat himself. And yes, Fat Cat is smoking a cigar, and he's going to hit you with the ashes. I'll get you, Rescue Rangers. Sorry. I like to imitate the characters in these shows. If you had noticed, like Scrooge McDuck the whole time I did the DuckTales episode, and Glomgold and all of them. Fairly simple, but odds are you're going to get hit. Yeah, like I did immediately. So yes, it's very fast moving. You could cheat a bit with the pause button, but I don't know. The good news is if you die, you continue right at him immediately. It's a very fast-paced game if you didn't notice. Fat Cat is very large, so if you can stand a little bit to the right or left of center while you're picking up the ball and hitting him, he's going to miss every time. Except, God, I couldn't handle this more poorly. Holy Toledo. I'm going to probably lose about 3 lives the way I'm going. So odds are you're going to die a couple times here, like I am. So annoying. The mistake I keep doing is accidentally throwing the ball forward, which is like the dumbest, stupidest freaking thing in the freaking planet. So, because you miss and you get knocked out, you're going to probably die right away. It's just the stupidest bleeping thing in the world. So, pardon my change in behavior here, but it's really annoying. He's not that hard, but I'm obviously, when I'm like when I'm kind of on the spot here and I'm trying to do a show at the same time, it's annoying. Luckily, I bleeping settled down and finally beat him, and you get to hear the little victory music, and then ultimately the ending music. And then you get to hear from Chip. I guess that'll teach Fat Cat not to mess with the Rescue Rangers. Gadget, golly, I don't know. Something tells me he'll be back. Yeah, if you watch the show for 5 minutes, of course he's going to come back. And Professor Nimble will be back. And Fat Cat will be back. And Professor Nimble will be back. But the main gangster bad guy in the very first 5 episodes of the show doesn't come back, unfortunately. But that was, because he was put in prison. That was Fat Cat's owner. So that's where Fat Cat originally came from in the story. And, of course, they stole a very valuable ruby. But the ruby wasn't the point of the whole robbery. It was to get a huge train of gold instead. Ruby's a big ruby, huge ruby. But the ruby led to something much more powerful. Anyhow, Monty, well, if he steps out of line again, we'll be ready to put him right back in place. Right, gang? Right. Yes, sirree, there's no stopping the Rescue Rangers. How adorable. And then you get to hear the theme song again. If you want to hear it, okay, here you go. Doesn't that song just make you want to run through a wall? Like, yeah, let's go get the bad... it kind of does, but it's a fun show. It doesn't really motivate me much, but the Deja Vu is probably a little bit more cool because it's more detective and all that stuff, and more, I don't know, adult, I guess. Chip and Dale is more of an innocent, fun thing, and it brings back awesome memories of the late 80s and early 90s. That's kind of the goal here, to bring back the memories of the late 80s and early 90s. Not only watching the show and just memories of that time when maybe you're in 5th grade, maybe you're in 2nd grade, maybe you're in 7th grade, whatever grade you were in, maybe you were a kindergartner. In my case, what was I, about 1989? That's like 5th grade? 4th grade. 90 was 5th and so on and so forth. But it's the good old days, the innocence time. You know, you're turning like 10, 11, or whatever the heck your age was. But to me, it was a much better time in so many ways. Obviously, cartoons were better. I think video games were better. Christmases were better. Everything was better, you know, except maybe like bikes were heavier. Unfortunately, that wasn't as good. TVs were uglier, so on and so forth. But so what? You had the best games in the world. We all took it for granted, didn't we? So it was a good time. Like, we used to make fun of the show like it's kind of, I don't know, cheesy and stuff. Compared to today, it's a freaking masterpiece beyond anything. I mean, I'm not even kidding. So maybe you disagree with me as I say that, but that's certainly how I see it, and that's the whole goal of the show, to take you back to the past when, yeah, things were a lot better than we gave them credit to be at the time. Chip and Dale absolutely does that for me. It's a very, very, very fast-paced game. It doesn't mess around, but at the same time, insanely generous when it comes to power-ups and potential extra lives and such. Very, very, very generous. Mega Man 3 was kind of that way. Great, and it also brings back similar memories to that time, around 5th, 6th grade, around that, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. Not the happiest time of my life, but these video games were definitely, the positive side. It was something to look forward to when you come home from school. You're done dealing with maybe not so friendly classmates and such. It was something to look forward to. And maybe call up your friendly classmates and talk about it. And maybe playing them at the same time. Wow, I'm at the last boss. Oh my gosh, we're going to beat it tonight. That kind of thing. Just wonderful, wonderful memories that will last a lifetime. And that's, of course, the goal of Video Game Flashback. And to me, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers absolutely is one of the games that can take me there. Overall, it's a 4.5 out of 5 because of the replayability of it, the entertainment of it, the graphics, the music. It's a 4.5. It's a wonderful designed game. I think it's a little deeper, especially like you add the map and such. It's deeper than DuckTales. It takes a little bit longer than DuckTales as well, even though this game review is actually shorter, probably because it's a faster paced game. That's kind of why. At least now I don't remember how long DuckTales was. Maybe I'll dig here as I'm holding my you can call it an iPod if they still exist, but yeah, I intentionally buy old iPhones to use as an iPod just for fun, even though I'm an Android person, but I like to listen to podcasts this way. How long was DuckTales? I can't even tell here. Oh, I guess it's going to be about the same, about an hour and a half. So yeah, about the same. That's funny. So, and they're similar games. DuckTales, I don't know, both games have their own appeal. DuckTales, you're bouncing around on a pogo stick. This one, you're throwing stuff at bad guys. The whole game is pretty much about throwing projectiles one way or another. Where DuckTales, you golf the projectile. You never actually throw anything. You might golf something, but you're not going to really be effective with that against bosses. You have to jump on them with your cane, basically, in order to do that. So, again, a very enjoyable game that I'm going to, I'm going to play this game off and on the rest of my life. Not every day, of course. Maybe once a year or twice a year, something like that. Play through the game all the way. And then, okay, set it aside again, electronically or physically, however you go about it. But I did own the game for sure. I still actually do have a physical cartridge of it. But with the capabilities of putting it on the NES Mini and having it in HD and not having to have a cartridge clunking around and all that, why not go that direction? So that's kind of what I recommend. At least it's the way I go about a lot of these. But I have owned pretty much every game I've reviewed. I either own a physical cartridge or used to in the past. But pretty much everything it's all stuff I do own. I might not have it in my current possession right here on the spot. It might be sitting in my parents' house still in kind of a safer spot, you could say, or somewhere in the apartment here. But now that I've probably said a little TMI here about personal stuff that's not super important to the show, with that, we're going to take a quick break and come back for the feedback segment. Do enjoy. And we are back here on Video Game Flashback, the feedback segment. Twitter account is at VGF_podcast, at VGF_podcast. So, of course, the most recent episode 26, that would make this one 27, but episode 26, Deja Vu on the NES, a classic point-and-click game. Hope all of you enjoyed that game review. Really appreciate those of you that did check it out, and really appreciate those of you that retweeted the most recent post showing that it has been released, and at least specifically on Spotify, but it's all over, of course, your favorite podcasting apps. Derek Felska, coming in out of Western Wisconsin. Vinrock Vince Germano coming in out of Melbourne, Australia. And Tanae Brown coming in out of New Zealand. Thank you guys so much for retweeting the most recent episode. Always appreciated. So Derek Felska leads things off, of course, at Crease and Assist, And yep, we are both big hockey fans and do hockey shows for the Minnesota Wild. Of course, Crease and Assist, again, that's a hockey show. Our Crease Assist podcast, that's what it's called officially. And Brave the Wild is the Minnesota Wild show that I do as well. So do check that out. That's why you might hear some hockey and sports references on this show at times. And of course, there will be podcasts about, there will be episodes about probably Blades of Steel and ice hockey coming up at some point in the future. Anyhow, let's get to where I need to be. Derek Welska says, that would be Teresa told me to tell you the Apple writing program you were asking for was ClarisWorks. That sounds right, yes. Back in the day. Yep, ClarisWorks. Derek continues, and I do believe we'll hear from Teresa again. Derek says, oh, and by the way, when you're gonna post about the show, do a hashtag VG Flashback. VG Flashback. The VGF like capital, I guess, but VG Flashback. That way I can keep everything organized and such, so it's more, in order and all that. Derek Felska says, I remember watching Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers after school, and it was only natural it would be turned into a video game on the NES. It was fun, but straightforward platformer by Capcom, who typically were one of the best at this type of game. Oh, yes, there's no doubt about that. You could either be Chip or Dale and work your way through the human-sized world, defeating enemies by throwing boxes at them. It's just funny to think of how tiny those boxes must have been. Like, when you... anyhow... This was probably the easiest of the Disney after-school themed games. How dare you? No, I'm just kidding. Music was catchy and upbeat. Yes, it was. Continuing. Just want to make sure. Okay, yeah, I want to make sure everything's in order here. Continuing. The original game is fairly affordable at about $22 loose, yeah. But the sequel was a late release, about $93. And it's going for over $300 for a loose cartridge. Chip, and it's always good to know what you might expect on eBay and such. Chip and Dale is a fun game, even if it's relatively easy. Playable with lots of cartoon nostalgia worked in. Yeah, because like the episodes I was talking about, there's literally like episodes mixed in a lot of ways. Like the cat episode that she was kidnapped, and then Professor Nimnall's invention that, robotic, hand device, it's got several different hands that would like rub and brush the cats to generate static electricity. I forget what his purpose was other than maybe to like sell electricity and make, tons of money and doing it very easily, but you're kidnapping cats. So obviously people are going to be like, what the heck? Our cats are all missing and stuff. So Professor Nimnall, that's what a mad scientist does, I guess. Teresa Ferries, there it is. There she is. She says, and when you were done using ClarisWorks, you made a banner using Print Shop and a dot matrix printer. Then you made a spring with the tear-off margins. Yep. Yeah, those are always fun, right? It's the good old days. Reply from Derek is hashtag VG Flashback. Yep, so that way we know keeping everything organized. And it looks like that's it, other than retweets when I was saying memories and thoughts of Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. Derek and Tanae Brown retweeting that one, so appreciate that. And also a like thrown in by Anthony Krenz. So hope to hear from you guys more and more, Anthony and all them. Yeah, Vince, like to hear any thoughts about any retro games. Hey, any idea of, like, say, Vince, any idea of retro game you might want me to put out? Possibly. Anything kind of, usually like probably 95 or earlier, like 1995, 1975 to 95-ish, we'll just say, throwing out the years, but I'm probably not going to go into the mid-70s as much as maybe 1977-ish Atari on. Because some of those were really obscure. Though, we could talk about, we're probably going to talk about Space Invaders one of these days, I'm sure. That was an absolute classic. That's kind of one of the things that got Midway really rolling forward. It's interesting to think. See, I always thought Space Invaders was an Atari game, but no, it's Midway. They collaborated to make the Atari 2600 game, Space Invaders. They collaborated, even though they were major competitors at the time. Like in the arcade, they were arch rivals. It was like the Wild and the Winnipeg Jets. It would maybe more like the Blackhawks and or like the Detroit Red Wings and Colorado Avalanche back in the 90s when Detroit used to be in the same conference. Now they're in the Eastern Conference, which is Prince of Wales or whatever. Yeah, it's interesting stuff. So there's some hockey references there. Yeah, they were top competitors, like Nike, Reebok, Coke, and Pep. You get the idea. Chiefs and Raiders. Well, if it's anybody against the Chiefs, then go Raiders, I guess. If you know what I'm trying to say. I can't stand the Kansas City Chiefs. Now I'm ranting about that on Video Game Flashback. Chippendale Rescue Rangers, though, an absolutely outstanding game. Yeah, I mean, is it the best game ever? Of course not, but very lively, very colorful, very enjoyable. And like I kept saying, it really brings me back to the late 80s, early 90s in so many ways. Like the music, obviously, just, level 1 all the way to the last level. It's just, there's a vibe to it. There's a charm to it that can really, it can never be matched. Like that time period in my life, the late 80s and early 90s. There's a charm to it that can never be matched. Ever. Honest to God. And it's generally the NES era, but okay, throw in some Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis in there. By the time the PlayStation came out, just the vibe was completely different. But PlayStation 1 did have some extremely fun games, and it was a system that I was happy to purchase. Even though a couple years late, 97 is when I got mine. It was a system that I was absolutely happy to purchase at the time, and it was a good move for me. But deep down, at the end of the day, doesn't hold a candle to the late 80s, early 90s. Late 90s, early 2000s don't hold a candle. They just don't. PS1 for me was my favorite PlayStation system. There's no doubt, but 2, at least it was backwards compatible. Yeah, and the laser and all that worked better. So, okay, here I go going on into a very strange rabbit hole. But again, other than just saying the late 80s, early 90s are, like Chippendale Rescue Rangers really kind of give me that vibe. Like that Mega Man 2, Mega Man 3 vibe in a lot of ways. It's kind of like DuckTales would be like Mega Man 2 and Chippendale would be like Mega Man 3. Maybe it's like a little bit easier, but the music quality is probably a tiny bit better and it's a little bit more colorful. You could argue, but then again, 2 and 3, you can't go wrong with Mega Man 2 or Mega Man 3. Mega Man 1 is great music and graphics and everything, but the gameplay is not as good as 2 and 3. Plus the fact there's a major handicap in that game. No energy tanks. Just energy pellets and weapon capsules. No energy tanks. Like you are, on your own, mano a mano. Like you live or you die. There's no like, oh, okay, good, I can fill up my energy. I'm almost dead. Okay, now I'll be able to finish off Dr. Wily. No energy tanks, buddy. You're on your own. Those didn't come around until Mega Man 2. And in that game, you could only get 4. In Mega Man 3, it was like a counter where you could probably get up to 99 or something. Because I mean, you could get over 10 basically at the end of the day. So it's a huge difference where it's a counter versus just, 4 little dots getting filled up in Mega Man 2. So that's another thing. And other innovations were added, like being able to slide and being able to control rush when you're flying him, which made the game a lot easier, honestly. There I go, another rabbit hole. But it was an era of gaming that I could talk about all day, and there's material that's going to go on for many, many years. Super Mario World, of course, we're going to do that one day. What's actually going to be the first Mario game I'm going to do? I mean, is it going to be Super Mario 1, or is it going to be Super Mario Land? That's a debate that I'm kind of having in my head, like today. Today I'm having that debate. But with all that said, we're stepping away from the NES again for the first time in a little while. Since, it's been a while. It's pretty much been NES, and then I did Super Nintendo, and then I threw in a Sega Master System game, which was awesome. We're going to go to the Super Nintendo again. Yeah. Did a couple of great ones in the later half of the winter, like in the dead of winter and into the later stages of winter last year with Zelda, and then Secret of Evermore. Well, this year's game, we're going to finally venture into the world of Final Fantasy. Yep. But unfortunately, it's not going to be Final Fantasy 4 or 6. Not yet. That day is coming. It's not going to be 5 either. It's going to be Final Fantasy Mystic Quest, the very first turn-based RPG that I ever owned. Ever. Obviously, there were Zeldas, and then there was Final Fantasy Adventure. Actually, I believe I got Mystic Quest before Adventure, actually. Yeah, I did. And then Final Fantasy Legends and all that. I kind of got them all after that, 1, 2, and 3. That's why I'm saying Legends with a S. So, yeah, I got those all kind of in the same time back in 1994. So you're going to hear me talk about that a bit when that game was purchased. It's the very first turn-based RPG I ever owned. It is kind of like a beginner, like like almost like, say, Sam Adams is to the craft beer world. Like, say, you're used to Budweiser, Heineken, blah, 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 name your macrobrewery. And then you try Sam Adams when you've never had anything with a little bit of hops in it. And then it tastes like, holy crap, that's bitter. Oh, my God. But then you have it again, and that was kind of good. It's actually really good. Wow, now all this other stuff is kind of boring. So on and so forth. And then eventually Sam Adams starts to taste watery once you start diving into the real craft beers like Sierra Nevada and Founders and all them. So that's kind of what Final Fantasy Mystic Quest is in a lot of ways. It's kind of like a transition RPG. It's a transition game that kind of takes you into the RPG world. At least it did at the time. Now it's almost 30 years old. And in fact, honest to God, I didn't even realize this, and what perfect timing to do the game review for Final Fantasy Mystic Quest 30 years ago. Oh my God. 1994 was 30 years ago. 1994 was 30 years ago. Wow. So it's going to basically be about the 30-year anniversary, about February 1994, when I purchased Final Fantasy Mystic Quest, because it was less expensive than Final Fantasy 2 and all them. So I figured give that one a shot first. It was called Final Fantasy 2, but Final Fantasy 4. That was like $50 at Target. I believe Mystic Quest was only $30. And what was I doing in 1994? Like a little bit of lawn service. I was pretty young still. I was 14, turning 15 in the summer. So it was exciting though. $30 Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. Let's give it a shot. And great music, blah, blah, blah. So that's where we're going. Final Fantasy Mystic Quest is the next game to talk about. I'm almost already getting started on doing the game review for it here. You're in the Chip and Dale one. Again, a 4.5 out of 5 for Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. But Final Fantasy Mystic Quest indeed is the next game. And I can't wait to do it, honestly. Hope you'll enjoy that one. I will be approaching it differently. Like, say, I'm not going to kind of play through it, and I'm not going to literally play through it and record, maybe in small sections. But yeah, I can't do that with a game, with a turn-based RPG that takes 15 to 20 hours or so. That's actually super short for a real RPG. But yeah, the game review would be about 9 hours long. I'm not going to do that. We're going to try to keep it reasonable and such, where I'm not just playing the game and talking. Whereas like a Chip and Dale, I can absolutely do that. So Zelda 2 even though that ended up being a pretty long one. But I'm going to try to keep it to around that range, like around like Zelda 2-ish that way. So rather than like 2 or 3 parts, I don't want to do the part thing again. I think that's bad. It confused listeners. I noticed how the listener numbers for those reviews were completely different. And it's like, that means it was confusing people. So we want to keep episode to that game, and that's it from now on. Even if it's a 4 or 5 hour review, so be it. Hopefully it won't be that long, and I don't think it will. With that said, I'm turning this one in probably longer than I should. But again, just kind of giving a hint, because this is a different one. This is different than what I've done so far, other than, say, Dragon Warrior 1. But that's a fairly short game, though. It's mostly level building, and I wasn't going to talk through level building, so duh. With that said, well, I've already made my point. Final Fantasy Mystic Quest is coming. It may be a bit until the game is released, because it's going to take time to play through it a little bit. But I'll do my best. Again, it's not the longest game in the world, and who knows? Maybe I'll have other projects working in the background, and that's how eventually someday I'd be releasing a Final Fantasy 4 or 6 review someday, where I'd be working on it for a very long time, possibly secretly behind the scenes. So sometimes that's how we have to roll here in Video Game Flashback, because it's just the way life is. With that said, thank you so much for listening. Please do put a positive rating for this show on your Apple Podcasts, your iTunes, your Spotify, or any other app that allows you to put a 5-star rating to help the algorithms for this show to grow. Please share it on social media, via X, via Facebook, via Instagram, or whatever else. All the information is down in the show description for how to get to the Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and all of that. But please share this show. Please help to get the word out, build up the algorithms. It's again, it's been a very, very, very slow burn getting this show off the ground a bit. I've definitely put my work into it, and I'd like to see it. I'd like to see it grow. I'd like to feel like I'm actually talking to people rather than like maybe like 3 people. Even though the 3 people that might be listening, I really appreciate the 3 of you. I know I'm under-exaggerating a bit, but it seems like it's only 3 people sometimes. So yes, interact with the show too if you could. That would be greatly, greatly, greatly appreciated. Interact with the show, please. Like, talk to me on Twitter. Do a voice, do a what do they call that? Audio submission. What you do for that is you open your smart device. Every smart device has a voice recording app on it. Simply open it, press record, talk into it like you're on the phone, basically. And then when you're done, you save it and share it to me. Share it / email it to paladinolive@yahoo.com, paladinolive@yahoo.com. And if need be, I will then convert it into an MP3 file. Thanks to Cloud Convert. Really like that web page. They do a great job. So Cloud Convert, giving them a free plug because they give me a free service. With that said, I better shut up and allow you to get on with your day, and we'll get started on Final Fantasy Mystic Quest post haste. Until then, game on.